How's it going, Easy Lifers? It's your girl Kimmo here. Today we're in my kitchen and we're gonna make some sourdough. Equal parts flour and warm water. If you were to combine these two ingredients and let them sit for a couple days, you'd probably notice a change. When left to ferment, flour and water can create wild yeast and lactic acid bacteria. Lactic acid and yeast, when combined with more flour, water, and a little bit of salt, can create some of the most incredible and uniquely tasting breads. This particular technique of bread making is one of the oldest forms of leavened bread, sourdough. Sourdough was made as early as ancient Egypt, but was made famous by miners and Alaskan explorers. California Klondikes were so famous for carrying their starters with them wherever they went that they were actually known as sourdough. Once a beloved tradition and now a quarantine hobby, today we're making sourdough. Let's go, boom! So the first thing you're gonna need is a scale. If you don't have a scale, I kindly ask that you buy one on Amazon, wait for it to get here, and then come back to this video. Trust me, you're gonna need it. If you measure your starter by volume rather than by weight, your recipe is going to fail 100% of the time. Do yourself and your future delicious bread a favor. Get yourself a scale and meet me back at this video. Okay, so things we need. A scale, a meat thermometer for the temperature of your water, a bowl to put everything in, whole wheat flour. This is optional. If you, like me, the first time I went through this, didn't feel the need to buy a whole freaking bag of whole wheat flour just for one starter, do all-purpose. Because the rest of it's made with all-purpose flour. Use whatever brand you want for flour. It doesn't matter. So according to King Arthur Flour, the wild yeast that gives sourdough starter its life is more likely to be found in the flora and fauna-rich environment of a whole grain flour than an all-purpose flour. As for water, unless the water from your faucet is so heavily treated that you can smell the chemicals, there's no need to use bottled water. Tap water is fine. I've heard mixed results on that, but I mean, if it works, it works. If your house is chilly, use lukewarm water. I use water that is between 80 and 90 degrees. We're gonna put our scale here. I usually use a separate glass because if you pour in the wrong amount of water into your starter water flour mixture here, you can't take the water back out. So I always measure the separate. We've tared our glass. I'm gonna put my thermometer on here and tare that as well so it zeroes out. I'm grabbing 113 grams of water. For me, it's about a little bit more than half a cup. 113.5, that's perfect. Okay, and I always go over with water because when you dump it in, you lose a little bit into your water container itself, which kind of sucks, but it's the way it goes. So we're gonna do the same thing with our bowl here. Put it on the scale, tare it. All right, so 113 grams. It should be a little bit over a cup. 107.3, ha, oops. With flour, it's a lot easier to get it back out because even if it's like this, you just spoon it back into your container. Perfect. So with that, about 87 degrees. Let's pour our water in here. I'm wearing an apron because this flour gets everywhere. And just mix this really well together. I've never used whole wheat flour in my starter, so I'm really excited to see how this turns out. Supposedly it is more gluten forming, so your starter will rise faster. When you're mixing your starter together, it is important to understand that you cannot overmix your starter. The thing you need to be worried about is undermixing it. Just try to make sure all that flour is combined as well as you can. Okay, so we're gonna put that in a nice clean mason jar. It's just like super thick. After you finish stirring it and you've put it all in that jar, put a hair tie or a rubber band around the edge of where your starter reaches. That way, however much it grows, you'll be able to see just how far it was from where it started. The next thing, you're gonna tighten it all the way and then loosen it back about a half a turn. And the reason you do this is because if your sourdough ends up growing way up here, it can cause this to pop. Okay, our sourdough is ready to rest. I've got my meat thermometer here again. I'm gonna put it right here. Your sourdough starter will grow best between 75 and 85 degrees. All right, Easy Lifers, we'll see you in 12 hours. Boom! Okay, we are back. It has been 12 hours. The first thing you should note is that the temperature is just under 80 degrees. That is perfect. There's a little bit of liquid on the top here that's perfectly normal. It means that it's fermenting, which is what we're trying to do. We are not going to do anything with this right now. We're going to wait another 12 hours and then we'll feed it. So, what's known as feeding is we're gonna take equal amounts starter, what we have in the jar, flour and water, warm water, remember, if your house is cold. And we're gonna mix those together really well and then put it all back in the jar. We're gonna discard the rest. Okay, so let's go see my sourdough. Currently, it's just over 80, but look at that bad boy. Let's make some more sourdough. Wow, that smells like corn. Woo! Like, it smells like freshly roasted corn. Look at that. Color me fermented. We got our flour. Got my scale, handy dandy meat thermometer, water container, mixing container, and I like rubber spatulas. So tare the thermometer and the cup. Okay, it's at 115. I'm gonna leave it at 115, so if I have a little extra, I can dump that out. This is the part with the starter. Okay, there that goes. So take your spoon, and you're gonna mix what you have in here. Do not be discouraged if your starter does not look like mine. My first starter did not grow at all. All right, now that I've beaten that down so it's all back to a normal size, about where we had it before. Glass bowl, tare that to 0. Okay, and now we're gonna measure out 113 grams. Okay, it's so much easier if you add the water before you mix the flour in. And remember again that I'm using all-purpose flour and not wheat flour as we started with. All right, now we're gonna mix it all together. We wanna make sure we break up all those little pockets of flour. And yes, I think this should count as an arm workout. Oh yeah, dude, just got my 1000th rep in. Doing my turns. But I only work out my right arm because it's my most important arm. Okay, so this is what my sourdough looks like. All right, so we're just gonna take everything that's in here. Put my rubber band on before I put my lid on. And this has a weird lid. Put that on a little bit loosely. I don't want to put it on tight. So with our loosely fastened lid, we are going to take this over here to my designated sourdough spot. So we're gonna leave this here for another 24 hours and then I'll check with you then. All right, boom. Hey, while you're here, take a second, and if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. It's free. It'll help you keep up with everything that we do, and you can make a lot of things with sourdough, not just bread. Next, I want to make cinnamon rolls, or pretzels, or brownies, or chocolate cake, or something crazy. Let me know what you want to see, and we'll make it happen. Comment on our videos, and I mean, please do it even on Facebook, because I know a lot of you watch on Facebook. All right, they're calling me. I gotta go. See ya! Greetings, everyone. It is day 2, and we're about to feed our sourdough again. A little bit of a difference from yesterday, right? There is a little bit of liquid on top here. Again, if you want to get rid of that, you can. I'm not going to get rid of mine. All right, we have our scale. We have our starter. We need flour and water. And we are going for what, ladies and gentlemen? Just over 113, right? So that way, when we pour it into our starter, we're going to end up with the perfect amount rather than under. We're at 114.3. I think that's perfect. Nice and smooth. All right, put my hair tie on it. Okay. See y'all in the morning. Boom. All right, ladies and gents, it is day 3. You'll notice that it didn't grow at all today. We waited 24 hours and still nothing. This is because it needs more food. It needs more water, it needs more gluten, so it's time to give it what it needs. We are now at the point where our starter needs to be fed twice a day. All right, 113, here we come. Boom, 113 grams of water, 113 grams of flour. Did you hear that snap? Alright, our well-fed starter is ready to go. I'll bet this guy will be ready to feed by the morning. I don't think he's gonna be bubbly, but I'm gonna give him a nice feeding. All right, and our sourdough is ready for another day. Okay, so that grew a lot more than I was expecting. We have full, happy, healthy, ripe sourdough, so we're gonna feed this right now. Otherwise, he won't rise as quickly next time. Oh. Look at that. All right, Cheryl, you know the drill by now. No, it's okay.
What is making coffee over here? The camping way of making coffee.
Now in your kitchen. Whoa. So from now on, you basically feed your sourdough twice a day. Once in the morning and once in the evening, as evenly spaced as you can. Okay. I'd start with 12 hours, but then work your way closer to 6 to 8, which is when your sourdough should be ripe. I'm gonna go ahead and feed this right now. It's been 6 hours. Boom! And he's fed. I guess if I feed it this evening, the next time I'll have to feed it will be in the morning. Yeah, tomorrow will be day 5, which means it'll be ready to go. We'll come back this evening. I brought out my other one from the fridge and fed it. This is where we're at. It's doing alright. Not nearly as good as our one that's been sitting out has. Alright. He got a little excited. And that's okay, that happens. So instead of the usual 113, we're going to bulk it up a little bit to 189 for this next recipe on the sourdough baking guide. Alright, so 189 is what we're going for. 189.6 water. Okay, and then same flour. There we go. So I ought to do this one for now. Let that one rise overnight. And we'll be ready to make bread with that in the morning. Alright, Easy Lifers, here we are first thing in the morning. We did not overflow again, thank goodness, but we got pretty darn close. Oh, so these two right here are the new starter, and this one back here, which I wasn't expecting, because it's so much more full. This one is our refrigerator starter, and it's a week old. All in all, I think the major differences between how these all rose, this being our original starter that's a week older than this starter. I think that the newer starter with whole wheat grew way faster. I still think that this is weirdly thicker for some reason, but this sourdough starter we're going to use to make the extra tangy sourdough, which requires an overnight rest. So this will be kind of a fun experiment. Let's go. Boom! Okay, so first things first, let's get our water. We need 340 grams of lukewarm water. 230. Okay, time to switch. Alright, 340. So I have this other cup here to help us. We're going to add 3 cups or 360 grams of flour. Yummy. Boop. So we're going to measure out 227 grams of starter into our mixing bowl here. So we're going to take our 227 grams of sourdough starter. We're going to stir together the water and the 3 cups of flour. Our water is about 80 degrees, so I hope that's good. Throw that in there. Throw in our flour. Okay, and it says beat vigorously for 1 minute. Start a timer here for 1 minute. Okay. Man, this is a long minute. Whew. Cover and let rest at room temperature for 4 hours. Alright, now that we're all scraped up, I'm going to cover this with a little bit of plastic wrap, and we're going to let it sit for 4 hours at room temperature. Alright, now we're wrapped and ready to go. Timer is set for 4 hours, and I'll see y'all then. Alrighty, boop, in 4 hours. It's risen quite a bit. Now we're about to put it in the fridge for another 12 hours. Alrighty, catch y'all in the morning. Boom! Good morning, Easy Lifers. We are back at it again with our sourdough. So we're actually at the final rise, which is kind of exciting. So this is my relaxed sourdough.
We're gonna add the remaining 2 cups of flour, or 240 grams, and about 2.5 teaspoons of salt right now. I have you on my kneading board. It's not a baking sheet, but it's made for rolling out pie dough. 240 grams of flour we come. 240. All right, and then 2.5 teaspoons of salt. Pink Himalayan sea salt here, because you fancy. Stir thoroughly to combine, and then knead by hand or the stand mixer to form a smooth dough. This is not working. Okay, so now we need our method. We're gonna put it on our lightly floured surface here. Get my hands a little bit floury here. And then you pull it over. And then they make it look so easy. She goes like this, and then she somehow folds this in half, and then, ouch. Okay, we're gonna call that good. I don't think I'm gonna get any better than that. All right, we're gonna put it in our bowl. We're gonna cover it for at least 5 hours. Well, it could take up to 5 hours. Who knows how long it'll actually take. Once per hour, we're gonna deflate it. And I'll show you how that goes when we get there. See you soon. Boom. Welcome back. It's been an hour, grown a little bit, which is awesome. So we're just gonna turn this, gently remove it from your, oh whoa, that's very sticky.
Very sticky.
Oh wow. It's actually coming out really clean. I don't know how well y'all can see that. What they say is fold it like a business letter. Rotate it 90 degrees. Fold it like a business letter. And we're gonna put it back in. Plastic wrap back on. Let's see you in another hour.
All right. This is turn number 3. Sorry, you skipped one. Haha. See how light and fluffy we're getting here? We're going until we see visible bubbles on the top. I'm thinking it's gonna only take a couple more turns at most. It's pretty light. Fold it like a business letter. I feel like this is gonna be really, really good. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Pop them right back in there. Whoop. See you in another hour. Turn it to the side. Don't lose any of the air that's in there. Okay, so we've got visible bubbles on our surface here.
Big old pot belly.
What we're gonna do is transfer the dough, gently divide it in half, and then gently pat the dough to deflate it slightly and remove any large air bubbles.
I don't know what it's supposed to look like.
I don't either, but that looks cool. I mean, look at the bubbles we got here, and the other half. Oh,
Bubbles
more
over here.
bubbles. Oh, how would you describe that texture?
This almost feels like a putty. Almost sticky, but it's almost, I mean, it's not.
So, I'm going to take a corner, stretch that, and pull it towards the center. And then turn. I'll wait for you. I'm going to push that, seal it into the center. Okay. And then when you turn it, grab the next corner and do the exact same thing. Pull it out.
At the corner of like them formed?
Yeah. Push it back towards the center and just seal it. Turn. So we're just going to do this until we go all the way around.
Look at the air bubble game.
And you get everything in the
form
center.
more of a log than a circle.
Oh, whoa. Whatever shape you get, I guess. Mine looks like a mushroom cap. Look, it is. That's pretty.
Log-tastic. I kept my air bubbles. As you can see, we got some bubbles. It's like a sinkhole.
I know, I'm nervous.
What's your hair shape look like?
Sad. Let the dough rest covered for about 10 minutes.
Just tucking it in.
So place the pre-shaped dough into the lightly floured surface.
And stretch it gently from the top and bottom, elongating it into an oval. Gently pat to remove any lingering bubbles. Fold the top third down toward the center as if folding a letter. Press with the heel of your hand to seal. Then fold the left and right top corners toward the center, 45-degree angles pressing to seal. Fold the top third of dough down toward the center again. Hold 1 inch to 2 inches of dough along the sides toward the center. Press to seal. Fold the dough in half, bringing the top edge to meet your bottom. Seal the seam with the heel of your hand, pressing firmly where the 2 edges meet. And then turn the dough over so the seam is facing down. Move your hands from the center out toward the edges, rounding the dough and tapering the edge very slightly. Feels so weird. Feels like it's hollow in the center. Maybe it is.
Take a look at your pocket.
Okay, I'm gonna put mine down.
Mine's a little more,
Rustic.
I was gonna say chode-like. You start with like a little bit longer of a shaft than I have, so I got like kind of thing.
You feel how like it feels hollow?
You know,
No.
it feels like a lot of mass here. I'm trying to twirl around.
Parchment line.
That's how we say hello in my native country. How's your mama? Shout out Wild Wild West. I do have a little bit of a tapered end on each end. It looks similar to what she has. It's not quite as symmetrical or as long as what she has, but you know, I'm gonna call it as a dove. Where hers may grow long, mine grow wide.
They are not light, let me tell you. Cover and let rise until very puffy, about 2 to 4 hours. These are covered, we'll see you back in 2 hours. So we baked our bread, and as you can see, it doesn't look like we fully cooked it right there, but bread turned out pretty well. Crust is really crusty. It's really moist, it's bouncy. If you have any desire to make sourdough bread and you're afraid of it, I think all you need to have is patience and a little bit of understanding of how sourdough works, and you can do that with lots of research. And I think you can do anything with your sourdough. All right, Easy Lifers, and with that, this is Kimmo signing off.